You can hear it before you see it, that violent, unmistakable crack of pads echoing into the cool Indiana night air. We are out at Grand Park in Westfield. The stadium lights are humming, the turf is perfectly manicured. But make no mistake about it, this isn't just a casual summer walkthrough. This is an absolute crucible. Underneath all the fan celebrations, underneath the literal fireworks going off in the night sky, there is a massive, bubbling undercurrent of pressure. Every single snap we are watching, every full-speed sprint, every frustrated grimace on the sideline, it's a puzzle piece. And these pieces are forming the reality of a cold season that is teetering on a razor-thin edge. We're talking about the microscopic margins between a historic, deep playoff run and a completely devastating collapse. And all of that pressure, it basically bottlenecks into one single, highly dramatic question that is hanging over the entire organization right now. Can a quarterback truly return to elite form after a devastating Achilles tear? Listen, an Achilles rupture isn't just a regular injury. We're not talking about a sprained ankle or a broken bone. This is a fundamental, complete structural failure. It's an injury that has literally ended careers, completely robbed world-class athletes of their explosiveness, and haunted the psychology of players for years after the physical wounds have healed. For Daniel Jones, this isn't merely a physical hurdle to clear. It is the ultimate test of human resilience. It is the central, unavoidable narrative pillar that this entire Colts season rests on. If that repaired tendon holds up against the brutal, car crash violence of the NFL trenches, this team goes to the moon. If it doesn't, well, you'll see exactly what happens later.
Section 1. Fireworks and Contract Extensions.
Let's set the scene out on the field for Day 7, because before the serious whistle even blew, the atmosphere was genuinely electric. We're talking an actual, literal fireworks display capping off the night under the lights. It felt like a perfect metaphor for the explosive potential of this offensive roster, but the front office knew exactly what they were doing to whip this crowd into an absolute frenzy before practice started. Owner and CEO Carly Gordon grabs the microphone, stands in front of the fans, and officially welcomes back their star running back Jonathan Taylor with a brand new, fresh contract extension. Boom! Immediate message of stability. Immediate commitment to the franchise's absolute core. And to just push those immaculate vibes completely over the edge, the ownership trio of Gordon, Kalen Jackson, and Casey Foyt literally treated the fans in attendance to a free round of beers. I mean, the stadium was absolutely buzzing. People were ecstatic. But once those cheers faded, the free beers were poured, and those helmets snapped on, the honeymoon phase ended. It was time for the deadly serious business of August football.
Section 2. Daniel Jones defies the odds.
Which brings us to the guy everyone was really there to see, the most critical storyline of this entire training camp. Daniel Jones is on an absolute mission to silence the doubters and completely redefine what is medically and athletically possible for a quarterback coming off a ruptured Achilles. You just have to listen to the sheer, unwavering conviction in his voice. He told reporters, "I felt good through the whole camp so far. I knew I would. You try to push yourself in the rehab in preparation for camp, knowing what to expect." Think about the mindset it takes to say that. I knew I would. This isn't your standard generic PR-trained player speak. This is the sound of a guy who visualized dominating this camp during the absolute darkest, most painful days of his rehab. He hasn't missed a single solitary practice since being cleared for team drills. He didn't just want to get back on the field, he wanted to immediately take it over.
But to really grasp the magnitude of this, we have to rewind. We have to look at the timeline. Because the context of exactly what was lost is staggering. Jones arrives in the 2025 offseason, right? He's supposed to just be a challenger, a depth piece to push the room. Instead, he absolutely shocks the football world, violently rips the starting job away before week 1 and goes on an absolute tear. Look at those first 2 months, 13 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, completing passes at a wildly efficient rate well north of 70%. He was operating this offense like a seasoned maestro. And then, out of nowhere, the sudden, devastating pop of the Achilles. Season over. The air sucked right out of the building. We have to keep that exact caliber of elite play in mind to understand why his current return to form is sending shockwaves through the league right now.
So, the obvious question everyone is asking, how does he actually look against a live defense? I'll give you the raw numbers. Unofficial stats from Thursday night's intense 11-on-11 sessions have Daniel Jones going a staggering 20 for 25 passing. 20 out of 25. That included multiple passing touchdowns. He threw an absolutely gorgeous wheel route that perfectly hit Ulysses Bentley and then followed it up with a surgical pinpoint zone beater to Tyler Warren. And he's doing this while actively targeting elite defensive backs, doing this against guys like Sauce Gardner. Let me tell you, going 20 for 25 in a high-intensity, full-speed intra-squad scrimmage isn't just having a good practice. It's undeniable, on-tape proof of elite ball placement, incredibly fast processing speed, and supreme, unwavering confidence in his lower body mechanics.
But the passing stats really only tell half the story here. The biggest, most glaring, red siren concern with an Achilles injury for any quarterback is the loss of mobility, the total inability to escape when the pocket inevitably collapses, right? Well, Jones has taken that narrative and smashed it into a million pieces. He isn't just stepping up to avoid the rush. He is showing an unforeseen, explosive burst of speed. During this night practice, there was a play where he tucked the ball, scrambled straight up the gut of the defense, and actively outran top-tier freak athletes. He left elite defenders like Lyotu Latu and Cam Bynum trailing behind him. That is huge. He hasn't just regained his baseline health. He has totally regained his swagger within Shane Steichen's incredibly complex offensive system.
Even head coach Shane Steichen couldn't maintain his usual stoic coach facade on the sideline. He told the media point blank, "He's on fire right now. It's awesome to see." When your head coach is publicly saying you're on fire in August, that cements the absolute triumph of this recovery process. But, and this is a massive looming but, Steichen immediately followed up with a severe note of caution, because the goal isn't just to look like a superhero in a controlled August scrimmage. It's about surviving a grueling, violently unforgiving 17-game regular season. And the reason Steichen is cautious, it's because the safety net beneath Daniel Jones is currently fraying at a truly alarming rate.
Section 3. The stagnant backup quarterback battle.
We have to completely pivot the emotional tone here, because when you pull back the curtain and look directly behind Jones on the depth chart, you see some highly concerning cracks forming in the foundation of this roster. This is the matchup literally no one expected to be this messy. Anthony Richardson versus Riley Leonard. Really think about the gravity of this situation for a second. Anthony Richardson, the guy who was supposed to be the unquestioned generational franchise savior back in 2025, the physical freak of nature. Now, he finds himself locked in a neck-and-neck, stagnant, and frankly sloppy battle for the backup job against a second-year player in Leonard. It is a stunning reversal of fortunes.
And the inter-squad scrimmage painted a deeply troubling picture of this quarterback room. Sure, they had a somewhat competitive back and forth during spring OTAs, but late July and August training camp, it has been a totally different, incredibly frustrating story. Neither of these guys is shining. Instead of someone grabbing the bull by the horns, we are seeing a consistent string of struggles. Multiple errant throws sailing over receivers' heads, alarming post-snap mishaps, blown assignments. During the entire 2-hour scrimmage, Richardson was relegated to running with a second-team offense, while Leonard was pushed down to the third unit. When you watch the tape, it looks less like two hungry, desperate athletes fighting for their professional survival in the NFL, and much more like two players playing tentatively, terrified of making a mistake, almost as if they don't want the immense pressure of the job.
And you can hear that frustration bleeding into the coaching staff. Notice the stark, jarring difference in tone from Shane Steichen here. All that enthusiastic praise he had for Daniel Jones? Gone. Replaced with a cold, critical reality check. Steichen said the guy that's most consistent is going to win that job. There's work to be done for sure. That is coach speak for, neither of you is playing well enough right now. Steichen knows the terrifying reality of the NFL. If Daniel Jones takes one wrong step, one awkward hit, or one bad sack, the keys to this absolute Ferrari of an offense are handed directly to one of these struggling, inconsistent backups. The catastrophic consequences of this stagnation simply cannot be overstated as the clock ticks closer to Week 1.
Section 4. Rookie setbacks on defense.
Now, let's execute a strategic narrative pivot, because we all know the old saying, a healthy, high-flying offense means absolutely nothing in January if your defense can't stop a nosebleed in the fourth quarter. And right now there is mounting, serious concern on the defensive side of the ball centering around rookie linebacker C.J. Allen. This kid already missed the first 2 critical practices of the preseason working his way back from a tweaked calf. He finally gets cleared, finally gets back out on the grass, logs just 4 consecutive practices, and now he's right back on the sideline, this time slapped with a hamstring designation. And the absolute most chilling phrase you can hear from a medical staff in August, no timetable for return.
To understand why this specific injury is sending massive shockwaves through the defensive coaching staff, you have to remember this number, 53. C.J. Allen wasn't just a flyer. He was the 53rd overall pick in the NFL draft. You do not spend a premium, highly valuable second-round pick on an off-ball linebacker unless you expect them to be a foundational day-one piece of your defensive puzzle.
Every single rep, every single defensive call he misses in August severely stunts his ability to read, react, and process complex NFL offenses in September. The learning curve for a rookie linebacker is already a sheer cliff face. Dealing with lingering soft tissue injuries makes it almost impossible to climb.
And if you want to know exactly what the defense is missing while he stands on the sideline in a hoodie and sweatpants, just look at the tape from his 2025 season at Georgia. In 13 games against brutal SEC competition, Allen was an absolute human wrecking ball. 88 combined tackles highlights his relentless non-stop sideline-to-sideline motor. 8 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks prove he has the sheer violence to disrupt the run game and terrorize the quarterback. But maybe most importantly for surviving in today's modern pass-happy NFL, 4 passes defended. That shows he is a rare hybrid weapon capable of dropping back seamlessly into coverage. This is the exact type of versatile, dynamic chess piece disruptor the Colts defense so desperately needs on the field, and right now, his critical transition to the pros is completely stalled out.
Section 5. Kicking and roster fringe battles.
Let's slow the pacing down for a second. Because while the starting quarterbacks and premium second-round picks steal 99% of the media headlines, true football heads know the reality of this league. Tight, gritty games in freezing December weather are almost always decided on the vital, often overlooked fringes of the 53-man roster. Let's look at the kicking competition. The data here is crystal clear, and it's fascinating. Blake Group finally missed his first kick since joining the team late last season. But context is everything. He missed from 53 and 61 yards out. Those are massive, incredibly challenging NFL distance kicks. Meanwhile, his competition, Spencer Schrader, is struggling severely just to find his basic rhythm. Schrader has missed 3 out of his 10 attempts, including a very standard, highly makeable 41-yarder. So while Group is out there pushing his absolute maximum range, Schrader's struggles with basic accuracy are handing Group a highly distinct and, frankly, perhaps insurmountable advantage for this job.
Moving out wide, we are watching an incredibly lively, desperate battle for the wide receiver 3 spot between Ashton Doolin and Nick Westbrook-Ikine. Now, neither of these guys might be a marquee household name selling thousands of jerseys, but they are fighting fiercely, scratching and clawing for their professional livelihoods out there on the turf. Both of them secured highly impressive, contested receptions during this night practice, and crucially, both of them caught a touchdown pass from Daniel Jones. They are rapidly earning the trust of the starting quarterback, proving that this intense, high-stakes positional battle is going to wage on violently right down to the final hours of cut-down day.
But life on the roster bubble isn't always a cinematic story of rising to the occasion. Sometimes it is a harsh, incredibly unforgiving reality check. Fourth-year cornerback Jalen Jones is living that exact nightmare right now as we speak. He remains deeply, hopelessly embedded in defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo's doghouse. He's been totally relegated to the 4th-team developmental squad. Let that sink in. A 4th-year veteran taking reps with guys who will be working regular jobs in 3 weeks. He is standing on the extreme outside looking in. It's a stark, brutal reminder of how insanely fast a veteran can be pushed to the absolute fringes of the league if they don't instantly fit the immediate tactical vision of the coaching staff.
Section 6. The final verdict. So, as the massive stadium lights finally power down at Grand Park, as the fans head home and the echoes of those fireworks fade into the night, what is our final verdict on this team? We have this awe-inspiring, genuinely triumphant return of Daniel Jones, a guy showing flashes of absolute brilliance and literally defying medical science. But that is directly paired with a sluggish, highly stagnant backup quarterback battle and a series of lingering, frustrating soft tissue injuries haunting a critical rookie draft class, which leads us to this deeply provocative, defining thought for the season. Can a top-heavy roster, saddled with such glaring, looming depth questions, truly survive the brutal, physical, unforgiving 17-game gauntlet of the NFL? Look, the ceiling for this team is a championship, fueled by a brilliant offensive mind and an explosive quarterback. But the floor? The floor is a chaotic, disastrous reality where one bad step, one rolled ankle, collapses the entire house of cards. You have to look beyond the manufactured magic of training camp, because the regular season is coming fast, and it takes absolutely zero prisoners.
That's the harsh reality of the gridiron, and honestly, we want to know exactly what you think. Is Daniel Jones going to stay healthy and lead this high-octane offense deep into January? Or are those cracks on the depth chart just way too massive to ignore over a 17-game stretch? Get in the comments right now and let me hear your opinion down below. And remember, NFL Nexus is your absolute premier home for the most intense, detailed, and unmissable football storytelling on the entire platform. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, like this explainer to tell the algorithm you want real football analysis, and support the channel directly by becoming a member today so you never miss a single snap of the action. We'll see you in the next one.